Welcome to Heidi Relationships. Today, we'll read some more stories from Reddit. But before we start, I would really appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel, like the video if you enjoyed it, and maybe leave a comment down below. That would help the channel a lot. Thank you very much in advance. The first one is titled, "My wife signed us up for her family's vacation. I canceled it." I need some perspective on a situation that had been causing serious tension in my marriage. I know the title might make me sound controlling, but please hear me out because there's more to this story. I'm Emmett, 37M, and I've been married to Diana, 35F, for 6 years. We both work. I'm an accountant, and she's a high school teacher. We've always managed pretty well financially, though like most people, we have to be careful with our budget since we're still paying off our mortgage and trying to save for the future. Diana comes from a big, close-knit family that loves planning elaborate get-togethers and vacations. Her parents are relatively wealthy and often help subsidize these family trips. While I generally get along with her family, I've always been more reserved about spending money, probably because I grew up in a household where every dollar was carefully counted. The current situation started 2 weeks ago when I came home from work to find Diana practically bouncing with excitement. "Emmett, you'll never guess what Mom just told me," she exclaimed as soon as I walked through the door. "They're planning a huge family vacation to Hawaii for next summer. 2 weeks at this amazing resort on Maui. Mom says they got a great deal through their timeshare program." I felt a knot forming in my stomach. Oh? That sounds expensive. Well, yes, but Mom and Dad are covering part of it as an early anniversary gift for everyone. They're so excited to have the whole family together. Something about her tone made me suspicious. "Diana, when you say they're covering part of it," she shifted uncomfortably. "They're paying half for everyone. Our portion would be about $4,000 plus airfare, but we have almost a year to save up." I took a deep breath. "Did you already tell them we're going?" Her silence was answer enough. "Diana, please tell me you didn't commit us to spending over $4,000 plus airfare without discussing it with me first." "I kinda did. Mom needed to know right away to lock in the group rate. I knew you'd be worried about the money, but it's such an amazing opportunity. We haven't had a real vacation in ages." I felt my blood pressure rising. "That's because we've been trying to build our emergency fund and save for house repairs. We talked about this. No major expenses without discussing it first." "But it's family, and Mom and Dad are being so generous." "That's not the point." I tried to keep my voice level. "We can't just drop thousands of dollars because your parents decided to plan a vacation. What about the roof repairs we've been saving for? We can put those off a little longer. The leak isn't that bad. Until the next big storm hits and we have water damage to deal with." "Diana, this isn't just about the money. It's about making major decisions without consulting me. We're supposed to be partners." She crossed her arms. "You're just being difficult because you don't like spending time with my family. That's not fair, and you know it. I get along fine with your family. What I don't like is being volunteered for expensive commitments without any say in the matter." The argument continued for hours. Diana kept insisting I was being unreasonable and that the opportunity was too good to pass up. I maintained that the issue wasn't the vacation itself, but the fact that she'd made such a huge financial decision unilaterally. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about our finances and how this vacation would impact our carefully planned budget, so I got up and started going through our accounts. What I found made my blood run cold. Diana had already put down a $1,000 non-refundable deposit on our portion of the vacation, using our joint credit card, without telling me. The next morning, I confronted her before she left for work. "When were you planning to tell me about the deposit?" She froze with her coffee mug halfway to her lips. "What deposit?" "The $1,000 you put on our credit card for the Hawaii trip. Were you hoping I just wouldn't notice?" She had the grace to look embarrassed. "I was going to tell you, I just needed to secure our spot. Mom said the rooms were going fast." "This isn't okay, Diana. You can't just spend our money behind my back because your mom pressured you into it. It's not behind your back. I told you about the trip after you'd already committed us to it. That's not how partnerships work." She grabbed her purse and headed for the door. "We can talk about this later. I'm going to be late for first period." "No," I said firmly. "We need to deal with this now. I'm calling the resort and canceling our reservation." She whirled around. "Don't you dare! Mom will be devastated." "Your mom's feelings aren't more important than our financial stability or our marriage. If you want to go to Hawaii, fine, but we need to discuss it properly and figure out if we can actually afford it. If you cancel that reservation, I'll never forgive you." If you keep making unilateral decisions about our money, there won't be much of a marriage left to forgive anything. She stormed out, slamming the door behind her. I spent the morning making calls, first to the resort to understand our cancellation options, then to our credit card company to dispute the charge since I hadn't authorized it. It turned out that while the deposit was supposed to be non-refundable, the resort manager was surprisingly understanding when I explained the situation. Actually, sir, we've had similar situations before, she said sympathetically. While we normally don't refund deposits, given the circumstances and the fact that it's still so far out, we can make an exception. Would you like me to process that refund now? Yes, please, I replied, feeling both relieved and guilty. And could you please note on the reservation that any future changes need to be authorized by both account holders? Of course, and if you and your wife decide to book with us in the future after discussing it together, we'll be happy to honor the same group rate. I thanked her and hung up, then braced myself for the fallout I knew was coming. It didn't take long. Around lunchtime, my phone started blowing up with messages from Diana's family. Her mother, Emmett, how could you do this to Diana? We were all so looking forward to having the whole family together. Her sister, way to ruin everything. Diana's crying in her classroom right now because of you. Her father, surprisingly more measured, son, I understand being careful with money, but family experiences are priceless. Let's talk about this. I responded only to her father. Okay, I respect you and appreciate your generosity, but this isn't about the vacation. It's about Diana making major financial commitments without consulting me and putting deposits on our credit card without my knowledge. I'm happy to discuss future family trips, but they need to be planned with both partners' input and agreement. His response surprised me. I understand. Sally, Diana's mom, didn't tell me she'd pressured Diana into committing right away. We can talk about alternative dates and payment plans that work better for everyone. At least someone was being reasonable. Diana didn't come home after work. Her sister texted to say she was staying with them because she couldn't stand to look at me right now. Fine. Maybe some space would help us both cool down. I used the time to create a detailed spreadsheet of our finances, our mortgage payments, utilities, car payments, insurance, the money we'd been saving for home repairs, our emergency fund goals, and other expenses. I also pulled together information about several concerning cracks in our roof that really needed to be addressed before winter. When Diana finally came home the next evening, I had everything laid out on the dining room table. What's all this? She asked warily. This is our financial reality, I replied calmly. I want you to really look at these numbers. This isn't about me being controlling or not wanting to spend time with your family. It's about making responsible decisions together. She sat down slowly and started looking through the documents. I didn't realize the roof repairs would cost that much, she said quietly after a while. Yeah, and that's just the basic estimate. If there's hidden damage, it could be worse. She was quiet for a long time, studying the spreadsheets. I messed up, didn't I? The vacation itself isn't the issue. It's the way it happened. We're supposed to be partners, Diana. That means making big decisions together, not just going along with what your mom wants and hoping I'll fall in line. Mom can be pushy, she admitted. When she gets excited about something, it's hard to say no. I've never been good at standing up to her. I get that, but we're married now. Your loyalty needs to be to our partnership, not your mom's wishes. She started crying then. I just wanted everyone to be happy. Mom was so excited about having all her kids and grandkids together. And when she started talking about how we might not have many more opportunities for whole family vacations while everyone's healthy. That's emotional manipulation, Diana. Your mom's using guilt to push you into doing what she wants without considering the consequences. I know, she sniffled. I know she does that. It's hard to break old patterns, you know? I moved around the table to hug her. I know it is, but we need to establish better boundaries, both with your family and with each other. No more making major financial decisions without consulting each other first. I'm sorry about the deposit, she whispered. I shouldn't have done that behind your back. No, you shouldn't have. That really hurt my trust in you. We spent the next few hours having the kind of deep, honest conversation we should have had years ago. Diana admitted that she'd always struggled with standing up to her mother's demands, and that she often felt guilty for not being able to participate in family events at the same level as her wealthier siblings. I shared my own anxieties about financial security stemming from my childhood experiences with money being tight. We talked about our different approaches to spending and saving and how we could better balance our priorities. What if we set up a separate savings account specifically for family events and vacations? I suggested. We can put a certain amount in each month, and when opportunities come up, we'll know exactly what we can afford. Diana brightened. That's a great idea. And maybe we can look at less expensive ways to do family trips. We don't have to stay at fancy resorts to spend quality time together. Exactly. And for this Hawaii trip, maybe we can talk to your parents about going at a different time when we've had chance to save properly for it. The resort manager said they'd honor the group rate if we rebook. The next day, Diana called her mother to have a long overdue conversation about boundaries and respect. Mom, I love you, but you can't keep pressuring me into making snap decisions about expensive things. Emmett and I are a team, and we need to make these choices together. I could hear her mother's protest through the phone, but Diana held firm. No, Mom, this isn't Emmett controlling me. This is me telling you that I'm an adult in an equal partnership, and you need to respect that. We'd love to go to Hawaii with the family, but we need to do it on a timeline that works for our budget. Her mother didn't take it well initially, but over the next few weeks, things slowly improved. Diana's father proved to be an unexpected ally, helping his wife understand why their daughter needed to prioritize her marriage over family vacation plans. We ended up working out a compromise. Instead of the expensive Hawaii trip, the whole family would rent a few beach houses on the Oregon coast for a week the following summer. The cost was less than a quarter of what Hawaii would have been, and we had plenty of time to save for it. More importantly, Diana and I established new patterns in our relationship. We set up that dedicated savings account for family events and started having monthly money meetings to review our finances and discuss any upcoming expenses. The roof got fixed before winter hit, and knowing we had that taken care of gave us both peace of mind. We also started seeing a marriage counselor to work on our communication issues and setting healthy boundaries with extended family. 6 months later, we were in a much better place both financially and emotionally. Diana had gotten better at standing up to her mother's manipulation attempts, and I'd learned to be more understanding about her desire to participate in family events. Last week, we sat down together to plan our own vacation, a long weekend in San Diego, paid for with money we'd saved in our new travel fund. As we compared flight options and hotel reviews, Diana looked at me and smiled. You know what? This is so much better than having plans sprung on me. I actually get to help choose where we stay and what we do. That's what being partners is all about, I replied, making decisions together. She nodded. I'm sorry again about before. I really thought I was doing the right thing by securing that Hawaii trip, but I see now how wrong that was. Water under the bridge. What matters is that we learned from it and got stronger. And we did get stronger. That crisis forced us to address issues we'd been avoiding and establish better patterns for our marriage. Diana's relationship with her family has actually improved now that she's setting proper boundaries, and her mother has, mostly, learned to respect our need to make decisions as a couple. We're planning to go to Hawaii eventually, but on our own terms and our own timeline. We've got a savings plan in place, and we're making decisions together about when and how to do it. Sometimes it takes a crisis to show you where you need to grow. In our case, what started as a fight about a vacation turned into an opportunity to build a stronger, healthier marriage. It wasn't easy, and there were definitely some rough moments, but we came through it better than ever. And now, after it all, the Oregon coast trip with Diana's family was actually amazing. Because it was more affordable, everyone was more relaxed about money, and we could focus on just enjoying time together. Even Diana's mom admitted it was more fun than a fancy resort would have been. Diana and I have kept up our monthly money meetings, and they've become something we both look forward to. We talk about our goals, celebrate our progress, and make plans together. No more surprise expenses or hidden financial decisions. The biggest change has been in Diana's relationship with her mother. They still love each other deeply, but there's a new respect for boundaries that wasn't there before. Her mom actually called me last week to apologize for her behavior during the Hawaii incident. I was wrong to pressure Diana into making that commitment without consulting you, she said. I see now that I wasn't respecting your marriage or your right to make decisions as a couple. That meant a lot to both of us. We've also inspired some positive changes in our extended family. Diana's siblings have started having more open discussions with their spouses about finances and family obligations. Her youngest sister even thanked us for showing her it's okay to say no to mom sometimes. As for that Hawaii trip, we're actually going next year. Planned together, saved for properly, and booked with both our full agreement. It feels so much better this way. Sometimes standing firm on your principles can be hard, especially when family is involved, but if you do it with love and respect, While being clear about your reasons, it can lead to positive changes you never expected. But then again, that's all coming from me, and I'm not exactly a third party. First, thank you all for reading. I've been going back and forth in my head about whether I handled this whole situation the right way. Even though things worked out in the end, I sometimes wonder if I was too harsh in immediately canceling the reservation. Was there maybe a gentler way I could have handled it? I mean, yes, Diana was wrong to make that commitment without consulting me, but was I too quick to pull the nuclear option? Sometimes I lie awake at night thinking about how hurt she was when I canceled everything and how it affected her relationship with her family in those first few weeks. My friend says I did exactly the right thing, that sometimes you need to take dramatic action to break unhealthy patterns. If you hadn't put your foot down, he told me, you'd still be getting steamrolled by your mother-in-law's plans. But my sister thinks I could have been more diplomatic. You could have taken a few days to discuss it, she said. Maybe worked out a payment plan or looked for ways to cut other expenses. I keep coming back to the fact that Diana put down that deposit behind my back, though. That was a real breach of trust. If she just talked to me first, maybe we could have found a way to make it work. But going behind my back to put $1,000 on our credit card, that crossed a line. Still, when I see how happy Diana is now planning our upcoming Hawaii trip together, I sometimes feel a twinge of guilt. Could we have reached this same healthy place without all the drama and tears? Maybe we could have used this as an opportunity for growth without having to hurt so many feelings along the way. I guess what I'm asking is, did I do the right thing? Was canceling the reservation immediately the best course of action? Or should I have tried to find a middle ground first? Even though everything worked out well in the end, I'd really appreciate some outside perspectives on this. Did I handle this the right way? What would you have done in my situation? Sometimes it's hard to see things clearly when you're in the middle of it all, you know? Here are my thoughts about the story. Okay, y'all, this story hit me right in the feels because I've seen way too many variations of the spouse making financial decisions without consulting their partner drama, but this one's different. Like, usually these stories end with someone maxing out credit cards or secretly gambling away the kid's college fund. But this is that sneaky kind of financial betrayal that people try to justify with, but it's family and we should make some sacrifices. What gets me is how the mother-in-law totally weaponized that family connection. Like, she knew exactly what she was doing with that "we might not have many more opportunities while everyone's healthy" guilt trip. That's some professional level emotional manipulation right there. And poor Diana, programmed since childhood to jump when mommy says jump, didn't even realize she was being played like a fiddle. But here's where I actually disagree with some of the commenters calling Emmett too harsh. Guys, I've read stories where people have done way worse over similar betrayals. Compared to certain nuclear options, including but not limited to divorce, complete overtaking of the couple's finances, etc., Emmett was practically gentle. The thing that really impressed me about this story was how Emmett handled it. My guy pulled out spreadsheets. He didn't just get mad and start yelling, he came with receipts. And the way he focused on the trust issue rather than the money itself, that's emotional intelligence right there, one on a level we should really be looking to bring into the new year. And can we talk about that plot twist with Diana's dad being the voice of reason? That was refreshing. Usually in these stories, the in-laws form this united front of entitlement, but the man actually took a step back and was like, oh wait, maybe pressuring our daughter into making financial decisions without consulting her husband isn't great for their marriage? We love to see it. Honestly, I think Emmett took exactly the right action. Sometimes you need to rip off the Band-Aid quickly instead of letting things fester. If he hadn't canceled that reservation immediately, it would have just been the first of many financial decisions Diana made to please her mom without consulting him. Trust me, I've seen how these patterns escalate in other stories I've covered. The fact that they turn this into an opportunity for growth instead of letting it destroy their marriage shows that Emmett's harsh action was actually the kindest thing he could have done in the long run. He forced them to address the real issues instead of sweeping them under the rug. And that last part, I mean, they're still going to Hawaii, but they're doing it right this time. They've got boundaries with the in-laws, monthly money meetings, which, by the way, everyone should be doing, and they're making decisions together. This is how you turn a potential marriage ender into a marriage strengthener. To those saying Emmett should have been more diplomatic, sometimes being diplomatic just enables bad behavior. This man saw a problem, addressed it head on, and then worked with his wife to build better patterns. That's not being harsh, that's being a good partner. But anyways, guys, with this, we've reached the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and like the video/comment if you enjoyed it. I'll see you again tomorrow.